So it's about the clock of the cells,
It
right? You
seems to
change,
be.
reverse the clock. And in terms of the cellular senescence, so commonly believed that cellular senescence is one of the 12 hallmarks of aging, right? And which the senescent cells may secrete SASP,
Yes,
SASP, which may
correct.
further influence the aging process. But if I remember it correctly, you mentioned that it's body aging that contributes to cellular aging, or to say, in other words, cells don't age themselves. So how can
Right.
we understand this phrase?
Well, yeah, because it's contradictory. This present evidence contradicts that. And the only way we can explain it is that the body produces exosomes at a certain point. So that's a systemic process. And those exosomes go on to change the individual cellular clocks. The exosomes are targeted. They, their effect depends on the source and the recipient. So not all cells will be affected, but of course, if we use blood, whole blood, it contains all of the exosomes from all of the different kinds of cells. And it also turns out, the recent paper shows, that it's the amount, the concentration of the exosomes that also impacts cellular aging. And if we were to use human sources of blood, we'd have to murder several young teenagers and extract their blood to get some old guy like me a few extra years. And I don't think anyone would go for that. Certainly nobody I know. Certainly not me. So I thought, let's not restrict this to a few billionaires. Let's try to do it so that everyone could have this potential. In America, we talk about our quote golden years. People work all their lives, and then it comes time for them to retire. Age 65 is the normal age of retirement. And then their golden years turn out to be fool's gold, not real gold, because they're incapacitated in general, mentally and physically, in pain, often suffering the diseases of old age, atherosclerosis, and cognitive decline, and etc. So they really can't appreciate their golden years. I say, at least let's give people that much. We may not give them immortality, but we may. But at least let's make their quote golden years actually golden. Uh, so I had to find a source of now again, nobody believed this would work, but I did. Uh, I believe that there's enough homology between humans and other mammals such that these nanoparticles, very tiny particles like exosomes, etc., would be essentially the same in in all mammals. Uh,
Mhm.
Someone had already done an experiment where they showed that young human blood could rejuvenate an old rat. Now, mind you, the young human was 20 something years of age, and the old rat was 3 years of age. So it really depended on their life cycle and their life history rather than their chronological age. Uh, so the interesting thing is that pigs, at least in the United States, are butchered at just about the right age for us. And human beings would be the 13 to 14-year-old. Uh,
So do you
And
think how long might this technology, be used on humans? How long will it take? Use,
well, I mean, it was used on humans already
Mhm. Yeah.
without the slightest ill effect. And I think provided we get some funding, it can be, we're already planning dog trials.
Mhm.
American, Americans love dogs uh, as pets. Uh, um, but that's not, of course, our reason. Our reason is just to try on yet another species, which I'm sure there won't be any problems because rats are further from pigs than dogs are, and further from humans. And it's just a safety trial. I think within the next 2 years, we could have human trials. And I think as far as topical application goes, within a few months, we'll have human trials with well-controlled trials with many subjects and third-party verification.
So maybe how many subjects will be included in the human trials?
Oh, I
No.
uh, I would no, we haven't gotten to that point yet.
Mhm.
At least more than a dozen.
Mhm.
I
So
think the number of people who volunteered already exceeds hundreds. So nobody minds looking younger. Um,
if the technology has been used on humans, are there any rejection reactions or side effects?
on rats, there were absolutely
Mm.
uh, no side effects. And rats were given porcine pig plasma, just as we planned, the derivatives of pig plasma, just as we plan to use in humans. And there was absolutely no inflammation whatsoever. And on the one single human being who's actually used this, there were there were no ill effects. The first day after I applied it, I I took a shower, as is my custom, and next day I looked, no, nothing happened. Day after I looked, no, nothing happened. Third day I looked, no. All right, it's a failure. I didn't never really expected it. The fourth day, I I kept on looking from hand to hand. I couldn't believe my eyes. And this was photographed in our laboratories in Mumbai. And sure enough, there was a abrupt, dramatic change. All the various spots, very ugly. And here, where it's not applied, you can see
Mhm.
the same thing. It's actinic purpura, and basically caused because your skin is so thin, paper thin, that the slightest bruise, the slightest contact with a foreign object causes bruising, and blood flows underneath the skin. Now, I mean, this actually resulted from helping from installing a car battery in my wife's car. But I'm right-handed, so I use this hand quite as much as or more than I did this hand, and there's just no sign of bruising whatsoever. And I wish the definition of the camera were better. I don't know what you see, honestly, but in the little picture I see, I can't see much. But you see, there's no bruising, there are no scars.
Yeah, no,
There's
I can see it perfectly. Yeah.